Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jeff Adams. I'm going to be your host. Tonight, we're going to talk about a huge opportunity right now all across the U.S., and that's investing in cash flow properties. I can tell you right now, as a real estate investor, I want everybody to write this down. You get rich when you flip, and you get wealthy when you buy and hold. I can tell you I've been investing in real estate for over 20 years now. I've made a lot of money buying and selling properties. But I've made even more money by buying and holding properties. Why is that? Because it's all about appreciation. And I can tell you this, you can make a lot of money when you buy and sell real estate, but it's all about the passive cash flow. What happens when you stop flipping? Well, what happens when you stop flipping is those checks stop coming in. So tonight, I have a very special guest with us. Jason, you there?
Hey, I think I got you guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Awesome. So special guest with us here tonight. He is our property sourcing advisor. He's going to talk to you how you can go out there, invest in emerging markets, and earn passive income by investing in real estate. So Jason, why don't we do this? Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little about yourself, how you got started, and I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, Jeff, thanks so much. You know what? I'm really excited that you invited me to come on today. I've got a lot of information to share, and you know what, guys? This is one of my passions. I've done this, too, for the last 21 years, and I get a little excited, so, you know, I'll try to slow down to make sure I give you the information that you need, but, again, forgive me because this is something I'm passionate about, you guys. When you take a look at the pre-partner slide that I've got here on the screen, we've got passive real estate income. I don't know what's more exciting about passive real estate income than being able to generate something without a lot of efforts. I mean, we've all heard quotes like, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own, right? Well, that's what we're talking about. How do we create mailbox money? How do we create push-button profits so that we have income coming in day after day, week after week, and month after month, and so forth, without us having to show up every single day to make sure that's happening? So we're going to walk through. I want to introduce you guys a little bit to me. I want you to know who it is that you're talking to, let you know that I'm a real guy. My name is Jason Critchfield. I'm going to be your personal property sourcing advisor. You guys are going to be able to tap into my 20 years of real estate experience. Okay? So if you have questions, if you have doubts, we're going to try to answer as many of those today, but we're not going to get through everything, you guys. It's impossible. But let's have fun with this. Hopefully, you guys will be able to follow me through this presentation, and then I'll be there at the end to answer any questions you guys have as you reach out to me. Okay, but this is what we're going to do today. Today I'm going to let you guys know, number one, who I am, okay, why we are so great at what it is that we do. It's our specialty. We've spent years honing, tweaking, and making sure that we have a turnkey solution for you and your real estate investment needs. And then number three, you guys, why you need to be working with us, and specifically me and my team that I've put together with the systems tools that really you'll be excited about, okay? Because we're here about changing that financial future, make sure the retirement's set up the way that you want it to be at the end of the day. So here you guys go. I thought this would be fun if I threw in a quick little slide. Here's me and my wife. I think in that photo we might be in Hawaii playing around, having a good old time. And I needed to show you guys my personal motivation, okay? This is my beautiful, wonderful, big, happy family. Look at all those kids all lined up on that log. I had no idea the cost that it would take to feed that many mouths, football, baseball, soccer, dance lessons, the family trips. Do you know what it costs to take that family to Disneyland every year?
Hey, Jason,
Yeah.
You've got bigger than the Brady Bunch. You've got your own hockey team there.
It's a bit ridiculous, you guys. I'll admit it, but I love every one of them, and I'll tell you what, they are my motivation in life. All right,
that's awesome.
So let's talk a little bit more about me. What my experience is, you guys. I bought my first property back in 1994, and you know, I was just married 6 months. I was living in a one-bedroom apartment. I was paying about $395 a month. I did that for about 6 months, and I said to myself, you know, why do I want to pay rent? So I decided let's try to buy something. So the very first property I bought was a triplex. We moved into one of the units. We rented out the other two, and something amazing happened. Not only did I live rent-free because the other tenants paid for the mortgage, but I was making about $215 a month over and above what the mortgage payment was. And it kind of flipped on a light bulb, you guys. I went, hey, this is some neat stuff. I like having renters pay every single month, because what I realized is, see, these guys go to work just like I do. But the first week of every month, they're working for me, right? They're going to earn money to pay my rent, which, $5,650 at the time, every single month. That's coming my way. And so I kind of got this real estate bug and said, I want to do this again. Well, my wife said she wanted a house. So 8 months later, still newly married, we bought our first house. I rented out the third apartment in that triplex, and now I had the triplex paying the triplex mortgage, and it paid the complete mortgage on the house. So now I'm making $700, $800, $900 a month positive cash flow on that triplex, and as any of you can contest, that's exciting, right? Every month, rain or shine, whether or not I showed up for work or not. So that kind of started me in my quest for real estate. Started going really selling, investing, buying, fixing, flipping from about 1995 on. But about 2000, I thought, you know what? I love the thought of being a businessman. And so I bought me a real estate company. So this real estate company, to give you some quick background, had about 65 agents in it. I had no idea what I was doing. I wasn't a businessman. I had worked for myself my whole adult life as an independent contractor and did my own investments. But I bought this company. So I put all of my time, all my energy into this real estate company. And to be quite honest with you guys, I quit buying properties. At that time, I had a sixplex, I had a commercial building, I had numerous duplexes, numerous homes, but I stopped. And I put all my time and energy into this company. Now, I grew that company up to 300 agents, you guys. We were killing it. I'm here in Utah. We were doing over $23 million in commissions coming into my company every year. We did over 20,000 transactions in my 9-year run as the CEO, president, and owner of this real estate company. And so to me, I was having a lot of success, and I was enjoying the benefits that come along with making a lot of money. I had parked in the garage. I had a $160,000 Porsche 911 twin turbo, which any of you guys that love cars out there, what an amazing car. That was my daily driver. At the same time, I had a $100,000 H1 military Hummer sitting out in the driveway, and I take that down to Moab and play around. And so that part was very, very fun. But it was taking a lot of time. It was taking a lot of energy. And so at the end of 9 years and over $3 billion of real estate sold, rather than feeling like a success, you guys, I noticed something was missing. I wasn't happy, right? And it hit me. You see this, and then boom, my wife was upset with me. My kids, I had a tough relationship with my kids. And it wasn't because I was a bad guy, but it was because I was working at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, almost every single night. I was missing those beautiful kids growing up. And so I thought, I got to make some changes. Here I am. This is actually in my vehicle. I had this stress shield, and I found out I was taking this almost every day because, I had 16 employees, 300 agents, multiple Class A office space. A lot of work. You guys know what I'm talking about. So I decided it was time to rethink my life. Anybody been there where you're just like, man, it's not going right? In fact, I distinctly remember the day. I pull up in the garage. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I get out of the Porsche. My wife meets me at the door, and she's not happy. And I said, what's wrong? She says, you're an asshole. Now, that might be a little harsh, and it actually was for me because my wife had never sworn at me in our entire married life. I looked at her, I said, what's going on? She's like, you're not happy, I'm not happy. We got to make some changes. So you guys, I did something that I highly recommend. I took off all by myself, and I went to Brazil. I wanted to escape what I had created and take a look and say, is my life on the path that I want it to be on? So I went down to the Amazon rainforest, went and lived in the jungle, met some phenomenal people, had me a native guide. We went to the jungle. He taught me all sorts of fun stuff. He taught me how to rub crushed ant bodies all over my skin to act as a natural repellent. He taught me how to tickle a tarantula out of the hole in the ground with a little branch and some saliva. I mean, we did some amazing things. We caught piranhas and ate those. all that fun stuff, right? But I had time to reflect and really think about what it is that I want to do. And as I was sitting down there in Brazil, you guys, I remembered this fly that I'd seen in a cabin of mine just a couple years earlier. And you'll see here on the screen this fly. He's sitting on a screen, right? Well, this fly flies into this open door of my cabin. I watch it buzzing around. And you know, flies drive me nuts like they do everybody else. But fly decides it's time for him to go. So he flies to an open window, and he goes right into the screen. Bounces back, flies back again, hits the screen, bounces back. He did this 3 or 4 times, just flying into the same screen. Now, you and I know what the fly wanted, right? He wanted back outside where he was. He wanted the freedom. But this fly, all he could see is, look, there's the outside. That's where I want to be. I just don't know how it is that I'm supposed to get there. Zzz, hitting the screen, zzz, hitting the screen. So finally, he gets exhausted, falls into the windowsill, and who knows what happened to him. Here's the interesting thing. The open door that the fly flew into was only 2 feet away from the window. See, he knew where he wanted to be, but he didn't have the perspective to figure out how it was that he needed to get there. If he would have just backed up and taken a look, and maybe had the intelligence, he would have seen that that's the door I want to fly through. So you guys, I was reminded while I was in Brazil of this example, and also that of my father. See, my dad's a real neat guy. He was an insurance salesman, sold insurance, very, very frugal. But he decided that, you know, he wanted to make sure that he had created enough income later on in life to take care of him and his family and his wife. He had 8 kids, so he had a ton of kids to take care of. I think he came from a family of 11, if you can imagine that, 11 brothers and sisters. And they were dirt poor. We can talk about that another time. But he started to invest in real estate. He didn't have a lot of money, but what he did, you guys, is he started to buy rental houses. And as he bought his first house, all the rents from that house went to pay off his existing rental. He didn't live on it. He didn't spend it. He never bought new cars and hot tubs and anything else. He reinvested his profits from those homes back into the rentals in order to pay the mortgages off. Well, it wasn't long with his discipline that he was able to pay off that first house. Then he bought a second one. He used both the rents from the first and the second one to help him buy his third one. He used the rents from the first, second, and third to quickly pay off the fourth, and you can see where I'm going with this. He got to the point to where now every 3 to 4 years, his real estate income, his homes were paying him enough rent that he was able to pay off a new property every 3 or 4 years. And he continued to let that build, and I'm not sure where he is today, but I talked to my dad about 5 years ago. And I said, Dad, how you doing? And he goes, you know what, son? He said, I've built up my passive residential home income up to more than $32,000 a month. And for him, you know, I saw this kind of look of pride on his face where he was like, you know, that's a lot of money. Now, for some, that may not be a lot of money, right? And for a lot of us, we've made more money than that. But stop and think about it for a minute. No debt, and he's got $32,000 a month coming in month after month after month from a passive investment that even if he's still alive, and I expect him to be around for a long time, even if he were to pass on, even if he were to die, right, or just get sick and he couldn't go to work anymore, my mom's okay because she's going to have that same income coming in month after month after month. And, you know, I had a very unique childhood because my dad, you guys, was always around. He was at every soccer game. He was at every wrestling match. If I wanted to go hunting, he and I would load up. We'd take off and go hunting together. He was his own boss, and he had created enough residual income that at about the age of 42, he was done. He had enough rent coming in every single month, enough passive income every single month to pay his monthly nut, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. What I want you guys to remember is this. One of the quotes that I keep on my wall, and it's been there for years and years and years, is by Abraham Lincoln. And it's good things may come to those who wait, but only the things left behind by those who hustle. See, most of us have great intentions, and we think, hey, this might be something that I want to do someday. But it's the people that are in there that are willing to take the chance, get busy, get educated, just like Jeff's folks that are on the line today, and say, look, I want something more. Teach me, tell me, show me what I don't know so that I can do the things that ultimately I really want to do. But we've got to hustle. It may be passive income, but it's not going to come to you passively sitting in your chair, doing nothing but learning, doing nothing but going to seminars, doing nothing but ordering books and tapes. You guys, I'm not a guru. I don't sell education. I don't sell books. I don't sell tapes. What I do know is real estate. And specifically, I know passive real estate. I've done fixer flips as well, and I do love them. And I've made $10,000, $30,000, $80,000. The best one I ever did was $100,000 profit on a property that I fixed up, flipped, and resold. And that's great for today, but it's not great income for tomorrow. And so my goal became much like my dad's. I want to make sure that I know exactly what it costs me every single month to run my life, and very quickly put myself in a position where that comes in passively. So what I want you guys to do here real quick, guys and gals, is maybe just take out a piece of paper and let's write down for a minute, what does it cost you to live, right? How much is your house payment? What's your car payments that you have? How much utilities, food, entertainment, kids' activities? See, I spend about $8,000 a month just to feed my kids and keep them active. No, that's an exaggeration. I'm kidding. But, that's a real expense, right? Charitable contributions. Do you give back? Do you guys contribute? One of the universal laws out there is to give 10% of your income back out there somewhere. I don't care if it's to your church. I don't care if it's to whatever charity it is, but giving back, right? Because the more you give, the more that's going to come your way as well. So once you have that monthly nut figure, and for some of you it's going to be $4,000, for some of you it's going to be $8,000, for some of you it's going to be $15,000 a month plus. But once you have that number, now we can put together a goal to say we've got to get that covered. And we have the avenue to help you do that. Once your passive income is covering that monthly nut, guys and gals, it will release some creative juices. It will give you peace that I think few of you have really ever felt. And once that's happening, now we can say, hey, well, let's do this, and let's do this, and we can do these other things because we know that nut's covered, and we're good to go. So one thing that most of us have done is we've created these 401ks, right, our retirement accounts. And we've said, look, if we contribute to these and let them grow slowly, that by the time we're really, really old, we should hopefully, possibly be what? Be okay, right? Well, what does be okay really mean? I had somebody tell me one time, he says, you know what, my wealthy friends, none of them have 401ks. I said, what do you mean? Talk to me about that. I've got a 401k. And he says, well, here's the thing. We all like the fact that we're putting money away, but we expect somebody else to invest it, right? We expect somebody else to go out and get us the return because it's easy. And most of us don't have the experience and the time and the knowledge to know how to go out and do that for ourselves. But he said, my guys, they don't have 401ks. He says they have self-directed IRAs. He said so they can actually go out and tell their retirement accounts where to invest. Go out and tell their retirement accounts what to buy. Most of our trustees today, you guys, you can't buy real estate. Edward Jones, Vanguard, Merrill Lynch, these guys don't want you to buy real estate. They want to be able to invest in the stock market for you, right? But it's because that's how they make their money. New York Times, they did a study here, it was a couple of years back that I looked at, and they took a look at 60,000 managed portfolios. And on average, over those 60,000 managed portfolios, you guys, the average return was 4%. So you have a 401k with a trustee that's out there doing the work for you, but for most of us, you guys, the returns are, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5% returns. That's not acceptable. That's not going to get you to your goal. And one of the reasons why we know this is because if you take a look at what the average return is on a lot of different places that we can stick our money, take you to this passive real estate versus other investments, I mean, look at the pathetic returns we get on savings accounts, money markets, 60-month CDs, certificates. That's even higher than what it is actually right now today. Vanguard's top mutual funds, you guys, since 1984 has an average return of 13.43. Most of you go, hey, that's fantastic. I like that number. Here's the problem is, To get a 13.43, you had to be in there since inception when they opened that fund in 1984. Current year-to-date return on Vanguard's top mutual fund is a negative 8.23. Now, most of the clients that I talk to that come to me say, look, I'm either making 2, 3, 4% of my retirement accounts, or worse, I'm losing 10, 12, 15%. I had one guy call me and goes, Jason, in the last quarter I've lost $23,000. I'm tired of it. And so what I want you guys to know is, where are you at? Where's your money? Do you have it in annuities, stocks, right? Do you have it in 401ks, in IRAs? And then let's get real clear on what is your return. And don't look at your return last month, last quarter. Go ask your financial advisor. Tell them, say, hey, what's my return been for the last 18, 24 months? And for most of us, you'll be shocked at what that number comes back to be. Inflation itself will eat up most of the gains that we earn. Over the last 50 to 60 years, if you take a look at the average inflationary rate for the U.S., it's over 3%. So if you have a 4% return on your investment and 3% of that's gone with just inflation of itself, you're not retiring anytime soon on 1%, right or wrong. Wish I could hear you, but I'm sure you would say, yeah, that's right. So you guys, I want to ask you a question. What is a good return? And I ask this all the time to different investors that I talk to. I say, what's a good investment? What's a good return on your investment? And I always get some guy that says every time, well, 100%, right? That's a great return. And I chuckle because, no, 100% is not a great return. It's an unrealistic return. And that's why we get into Ponzi schemes and get rich quick, and we end up losing money and wishing we had never done a lot of things we do because we're after that quick buck. And that's the big difference between flipping and buying passive rental income. There's a lot of things out there that are sexier than buying a rental property. Trust me. I know exactly what you're thinking. It's much more fun to go out there and make that quick $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 than it is just to buy another rental house. But if you can, like that fly, right? Remember that fly running into that screen? That's what a lot of us are doing. This is sexy. This is fun. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I want to get out there. If instead of bashing into that screen and not getting anywhere and just earning our measly returns on our 401k, if we step back and we look and say, what do I got to do to make sure that I've got that freedom, that I'm going to end up where I want to be? Then you start looking at the rule of 72, okay? And what the rule of 72 is, you guys, this return, your return will tell you how many years it's going to take you for your money to double. So whatever your return is currently on those investments and investments that we're going to be looking at here very soon with rental homes, you can take a look and say, okay, how long will it take for my money to double? And so if you get a 2% return, you take 2%, you divide that into 72, you guys, it's going to take you over 35 years for your money to double. And because of inflation, that's where a lot of us are at. If you did it at 4%, 6, 8, 10, look as you start getting up to a 10 and 12% return, you guys. As you divide 12 into 72, now we're taking a look, if you just took 10, that's an easy number. What's 10 divided by 72? 7.2. Easy math, right? So that means your money doubles in every 7.2 years. So if we have $100,000 earning 10% return on our investment, every 7.2 years, it's going to double. 7.2 years, we now have 200,000. The next 7.2, we've got 400,000, 800, 1.6 million as that continues every 7.2 years. And so you can see it doesn't take long for those returns to really equal large numbers. All right, let me keep you guys moving. I want you guys to take a look at turnkey real estate. This is what you logged on for, right? This is what you want to learn about. What do I not know? What do I need to know? How do I know I want to do business with you guys? You guys, we have, in my opinion, the best turnkey solution for investors today. We're the only turnkey operation in the U.S. that offers everything below. We start from acquisitions. We control the rehab. We do the leasing. We take care of sales management and liquidation of the asset if you need it at some point. So we have vertical integration, you guys. I'm kind of a control freak. I don't like to leave my investments, and I don't like to leave the control in anybody else's hands other than myself. Now, fortunately, not everybody's that way, but I want to control every aspect of who buys the properties, which properties I'm buying, right? How they're being rehabbed, the quality of work being done, the renters that we put in place, right? So every single one of these properties that you'll look at from us today, you guys, they've been completely rehabbed. And because of our reputation, time in business, and the sheer volume of homes that we do, we've created a very solid reputation in this industry as a company that can not only buy a lot of homes, but do quality rehab. So we have a lot of different banks, REOs that will come to us with different portfolios and say, hey, look, I want you guys to buy my portfolio. Here's an opportunity for me to sell, 38 properties. Are you ready to buy? So we'll take a look and we'll get first crack, you guys, at a portfolio that a bank's trying to unload 38 properties. We'll take a look, and we don't buy all 38 because we're very specific about where we buy and what we buy. Okay? We know the areas that we want to buy. We've vetted these areas out. And so as you take a look at a couple of these slides, you guys, I want to make sure you understand what makes a good investment market. You don't want just any house. You don't want just any market. You want the right market that's been researched. Okay, that's what we call an emerging market. The reason why I really got interested in buying properties out of Utah is, and that's where I started. Remember, I started buying those properties in Utah, is I could not get the returns sufficient enough to, one, hire a property manager, and two, make sure that I was making the residual income that I wanted to make month after month after month. I would have to spend $250,000 to get me a property that would rent for $1,200 a month. And that's what I was doing, right? But the problem was, which was even a bigger problem for me at the time, I had to manage them myself so that I could get the returns that I wanted to get. Well, I was introduced some years ago to this idea of going to these emerging markets. And so I've got partners much smarter than myself who have helped research, vet, study where these areas are that have great potential for appreciation. Which, if you want to talk sexy, guys and gals, appreciation is one of the sexiest numbers that we can talk about. I love it. It happens while you're awake. It happens while you're sleeping. And down the road, years from now, you look and you're like, I am so glad I bought that property. Remember that cute triplex I told you guys about, my very first property? I bought that for $92,000. Well, I ended up wanting to roll it over into some other investments, so I sold it. Some years later, guess what I sold that for? $269,000. Thank you, appreciation. What did I do for that? Well, really nothing. All I did was collect the rent on the property for 12 more years. Okay, so we're taking a look at houses. Now, the reason why I put up cheap houses is not because we want to buy just crap. We want to buy good properties in good blue-collar areas that we can rent out. But I don't want to spend $250,000 to get $1,200 a month rent. I want to spend $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a month to get properties that rent for $650, $750, $950, $1,150 a month. It doesn't take, a rocket scientist to figure out that if I'm buying a property for $50,000 that rents for $600 or $700 a month, that's a pretty good return, right? That's going to get me to my goal as long as all the other expenses are in line. And because these properties now are going to be able to bring us these double-digit returns, the best part is I can hire somebody to manage them for me. Somebody that's going to come in and do the work that I hate to do. Guys, I hate to manage real estate for myself. I did it for a lot of years, and going out and collecting rent, going out and talking to the renters, I'll tell you what, it's not my specialty. But having the right team in place to take care of those properties, to go and do that, make sure that they're doing background checks on all of our renters, making sure that they have no evictions, no foreclosures in recent years, making sure that they collect full deposits, applications, have them sign your leases. I've got people that are so good at that, so much better than I am, that you'll love them and I'll introduce you to them. Okay, we want areas that have job growth. We're looking at areas that are growing, that are expanding, right? People are moving there because they've got professional sports teams, they have great colleges, they've got diversified businesses. We're not going into areas where the entire economy is based on one automotive plant or simply automotive in and of itself. We all saw the crash when the market crashed and what happened to towns that were all based on automotive. And when those plants shut down, what happened to the real estate values? What happened to the rent? What good is a property to you if you get it cheap but you can't rent it out? It has no value. It becomes a liability at that point. So we're looking at these areas that have good rental application, low vacancy rates. And so we'll go in and we'll look at these counties and say, okay, look here, this is what we're doing. In a lot of our areas, you guys, we take a look every single quarter. What are the markets doing? And in most areas we're at, appreciation right now is anywhere from about 2 to 3% a quarter. And so it's very common to be looking at the end of the year and say, I just had a 12%. My property just went up 12% this last year. But there are over 3,100 counties, you guys, across the U.S. Do you have time to research all the counties? Do you have time to go to the thousands of auctions that happen across the country every single week? Of course you don't. And do you want to? Because that's not your specialty, right? That's not what you do as your job. So we take a look at these top growth markets in the U.S. and say, okay, which ones have this possibility? And so we'll go through and show you exactly why we invest in the markets that we invest in and why we buy the houses that we buy. We don't want anything with foundation, structural problems, major roof problems. We want homes in good areas that we can go in, completely rehab, right? Make nice, make new, and turn around and rent out. So guys, this is what we do. Here's our company. This is how we break up our time so that you know what it is that we focus on. Individual investors only make up about 50% of the business that we do. We don't advertise. We're not on the MLS. You guys won't see us on infomercials saying, hey, buy, buy, buy. We're primarily word of mouth. You will talk to investors that have bought our properties, that have been getting returns for the last year. Some are 5 years, some are 10 years, and beyond. Okay, 300 homes purchased the last 24 months. We sell to hedge funds on Wall Street. We manage hundreds of homes for investors around the world, Singapore, Hong Kong. It's fun to have these investors call us and say, look, you guys have a great reputation, a great product. We would like to buy in the U.S. We hear the U.S. properties are the place to be. They're coming overseas to invest, and yet how many of us haven't even started investing in our own U.S. properties? It's time, right? And then we right now currently manage 2,000 single-family homes for investors all over the U.S. Primarily they're in Dallas, Charlotte, Indianapolis, and Kansas City. But you can tell with 2,000 properties that we are managing currently and over 4,000 properties that we've bought and sold, we have honed our skills in a way that few companies have ever done. So that we know what needs to be in every home, so that it's renter-friendly. We know what every renter should look like. We know how to make sure that we're collecting those rents, keeping costs and expenses low for our owners of our properties, so that we can give you the maximum rent check at the end of the day. Let's take a look at an actual example of property that is for sale right now. This is one that you guys could buy. Okay, 1543 South New Jersey Street in Indianapolis. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It rents for $650 currently. Okay, this is a great property, you guys. Even though it's small, I love small little 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Renters, they move in, it works for them, they stick around. But this one rents currently for $650 a month, $40 insurance. Look at your monthly taxes, only $59 a month. Okay, and then your management fee that you pay, $65 a month to have somebody else do the work, spend the time, energy to make sure that you're getting that return. So on this one, we have an annual cash return of $7,800. That's not too bad. So if you take a look, you guys, that's a 10% return on your investment on this property. So remember that law of 72? That means if we're putting down $60,000 to buy this property, every 7.2 years, that doubles. So now we're at $120,000 7 years from now, right? What an amazing street just south of downtown Indy. Take a look, beautiful street dividers. Property we can go in more detail, but it's cute. Okay, guys, here's another one. Sales price $51,000. Currently, right now, this one, you guys, in Indianapolis has a 19% return on your investment. Now, if you take a look, how did we get 19%? Well, it's actually much easier to get there than you think. If you take a look at the properties that we'll have, you'll see that on average, they're anywhere from 8, 9, 10% on return on your investment. Okay, that's what they're earning you every single month. But the thing I don't want you to miss out on is they're also in emerging markets, meaning that they're appreciating, right? Kansas City, for example, Missouri, if you take a look at the real estate news, fourth quarter 2014, it actually went up 2.8% across the board for real estate values. That was the appreciation number. And so if all of a sudden you get your 10% return on your rents and you have 10% return on appreciation, that's a 20% increase in your what? In your net worth that you've added to your bottom line. Okay, let me just quickly show you, since I'm going over just a little bit, I want to make sure I give you guys the information. We don't cut corners. You guys, it's our reputation that is everything to us. And so when we go into these properties, we want to make sure that they're rehabbed, that they're nice, that when we turn them over, you know, if it needs to be done, we've done it. If it needs a new furnace, we put in a new furnace. If it needs updated electrical, we do new electrical. Water heaters, roofs. And so as you can see, some of these before pictures, some of these houses, they do need work, right? But that's okay because we have the skills to be able to do it. So we'll go in and take a house like you just looked at, and it looks like this afterwards. Now, guys, look, clean lines, fresh paint, great-looking floors, tile where we can put tile, new kitchens where we need to put new kitchens in. Ask yourself this question. May not be your first choice, but could you guys live in this house? See, if I had to, I would, because I know the area, and I also know this is a clean house, and it's gonna be that way for years and years to come. Here's another example. Before house, remember, a lot of us are going to look at that and say, I don't want that. I couldn't do that. And some people just, they freeze when they see that before picture. But it's not the before that you have to worry about, you guys. It's only the after. We do the work and the construction and get it done right, so when your renter moves in, man, they're excited, right? A lot of these renters have never seen houses as nice as what ours are. And so what it creates is really some excitement in the marketplace, where we have renters that come to us all the time and say, I hear you guys have great rental properties. See, most landlords out there are slumlords. Don't be a slumlord. The problem with that is, yes, it may increase your bottom line, but see, your returns are already high enough. Guys, we don't need 100%. We just need to get that 18, 19, 20% return that we were showing you in previous examples, because that's enough to turn what you have into what you want down the road. Sure, you have to be a little bit patient, but it works. And it has worked in my life. It's worked in many investors' lives that we've worked with personally over the years. It's worked in my family's life and my dad's life, and it can work in yours as well, as long as you're willing to take that action and say, look, let's do something today. Maybe you don't have the money to go buy 15 homes like a gentleman did last month that we sold, or our single person, our biggest investor who purchased 140 homes by one person. But it doesn't mean you can't figure out how to do one. So a story that I love to tell you guys is the one of Chuck Yeager. And I know this isn't specifically about real estate, but I want you to listen very carefully to this story. Most of you probably have heard of Chuck Yeager. This is the guy that broke the sound barrier. The thing about that is that no one had ever broken the speed of sound before. It had gone faster than the speed of sound. And scientists did not know exactly what would happen if the human body went faster than the speed of sound. Do you liquidate? Do you die? What exactly happens? Well, you know they want to find out, right? So they built this plane that they think can finally go faster than the speed of sound. They call it the X-1. Now the problem is they've got to find somebody crazy enough to get in the cockpit and see if they can go past this, break the sound barrier. So Chuck Yeager, surprisingly enough, volunteered. They told him what he was doing. He says, I want in. I'm going to do this. I'm ready for this thing, right? So the top minds build the fastest jet plane that our technology will allow us to build. And they tell Chuck, they take, hey, Chuck, you're the guy. We've built the plane. It's designed to last. We're not sure what's going to happen, but we want you to do it. Chuck says, hey, I'm so excited. Well, Chuck, the night before, he's supposed to be flying this X-1 and go breaking the speed of sound. He's out riding his horse, getting mentally prepared to go fly this jet the next day. And he actually gets bucked off. He falls off of his horse, and he breaks a couple ribs. Well, for a lot of us, you know, that obstacle alone would be enough to step back and go, whoa, maybe I'm not supposed to do this, right? Something bad just happened. And we use that as an excuse to withdraw, to pull back, to not take action. But not Chuck. Chuck showed up, and he told the mechanic, he goes, hey, listen, I need you to create a little broom handle so I can reach up and pull down the cockpit on this plane so I can go do this. I don't want anybody to know I've broken ribs. I'm doing this. So he does it. He gets up, he grabs a little broom handle, he pulls the cockpit down over his head, locks it in place, and he takes off. Okay, and Chuck's flying across the sky. He's moving. He's feeling good. Things are happening. And as he approaches the speed of sound, you guys, 680, 690, 692, 693, the plane really started to shake violently. This is the first time Chuck starts to get a little bit worried. And he goes, wow, is this plane going to hold together? And over the radio, he hears a little crackle, and he hears a voice. And the voice is saying, Chuck, you're at 692 miles an hour. The plane was built for this. It will last. Keep going. Well, that gives Chuck a little boost of adrenaline. He says, okay, great. So he pushes the throttle forward, and he goes 693, 693, 694, 695. As he inches closer to the speed of sound, the plane begins to shake even more violently. Instrument panels crack. Bolts start to pop. And over the radio, he hears the voice, Chuck, the plane was built. It will last. Push forward. So despite that hesitation, he pushes forward again. And as he continues to speed ever closer to this barrier of sound, you guys, the plane shakes more. He gets more concerned. But then something happens. As soon as he hit the sound barrier, you guys, there was this massive sonic boom. Boom! Everybody on the ground crew goes, oh, shit. Did he just blow up? They didn't know. But all of a sudden, they hear a crackle over their radio. 703, 704, 705. Chuck Yeager became the first man to go faster than the speed of sound. And not only did he survive, but he found that once he popped through, once he pushed through that barrier of sound, all the shaking stopped. The nervousness went away. It was smooth air. It was smooth sailing. And that's where we're at today, you guys. Where as you jump into buying these properties, there's going to be some turbulence. There's going to be some nervousness. But I want to be that voice over the radio that says, hey, it's okay. This model works. Okay? We built it to last. Have faith. Push forward. Because as you do that, as you create that support team around you like you already have with Jeff Adams, and as you create that support group with us, you guys, then you're able to accomplish so much more on your own than if you leave it up to your than when you engage us. So it's very simple what we have to do next. All I want you guys to do is reach out and talk to me. Okay? You guys know I'm passionate about this stuff, and all you have to do for a free consultation, and you guys, I'm not high pressure, I'm not high pitch. I'm not here to sell you anything. I don't sell you coaching. I don't ask for a credit card. I do none of that. The only thing I'm interested in doing is getting you into passive income, push-button profits, mailbox money that comes your way month after month after month. There's no membership fees. Every single one of our properties that you buy from us, we sell to you on a warranty deed, free and clear of liens or encumbrances. Make sure you have all the rights of ownership that you possibly can have, and then we manage and take care of that property. So if that sounds appealing to you, then I want you to go fill out this consultation form and let me know a little bit about you, what you've done, who you are, what you have, where you're at, and where you want to go. If you think it may not be the right time, you guys, I promise you there's always a way to do it. If you'll just get creative, if you'll just let us work with you through this process, let's figure out what we need to do to put that money to play, to get those returns that you need. So why don't you go to jeffadams.com/cash flow or give us a ring, and let's get that next step started. I look forward to talking to you guys.
Hey, Jason,
Yeah.
That was a great presentation. And folks, for those of you on the line here, I can tell you this right now. One of the things that my mentor told me over 20 years ago, and I want you all to write this down. He said, Jeff, you have to take care of today's cash flow needs today.
Yeah.
I'll say that one more time. You have to take care of today's cash flow needs today. Now, how do we do that? Well, it's very simple. We buy properties, we fix them, resell them. We also tie up properties, we wholesale them to other investors on our marketplaces. But one of the most important things he ever told me was, Jeff, you have to take care of tomorrow's cash flow needs. So how do we take care of tomorrow's cash flow needs? Well, it's very simple, okay? And that's by buying cash flow properties. You see, again, like I told you at the beginning of the call here, when you flip properties, you become rich. But when you buy and hold properties, you become wealthy. I want you all to write that down. Now, why is that? That's because you get rich off of appreciation. I can tell you this right now. the money you make off of appreciation will far exceed any money that you ever make working at JOB. Now, Jason, you know what I mean about that, right? By that, right? So say
Just
you have
over
10
broke,
properties.
right?
Yeah, let's say you have 10 properties worth $100,000, right? Well, 10 years later, they're worth how much? $200,000. What do you make on appreciation in 10 years? $1 million. Are you with me?
Yep.
Let's say you're working a job making $60,000 a year working for IBM. What is $60,000 a year times 10 years? That's $600,000. Where do you make more money? Working at JOB or in appreciation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciation. So, folks, the reason why we're bringing this to you here on this call here is that we want you to be successful down the road, and it's all about taking care of tomorrow's cash flow needs. I'll give you an example right now. I have 2 young twin girls. They're 4 years old. Well, typically in the summertime, I flip a lot of properties. I'm very heavily involved in real estate. But right now my girls are taking karate. They're taking gymnastics. My wife has them in all these different classes. It seems like every single day of the week. So this summer, my goal is to live the dream summer of my life by being involved in all my kids' sports, taking them on trips and so forth. And I'm able to accomplish that because I have monthly cash flow coming in month after month after month. Okay, let's say that later on down in life you get sick. You know, you have an illness or an injury. Okay, if your hip's broken, can you go out and flip properties?
No.
It's going to be kind of hard, right? So again, you have to diversify. You take care of today's cash flow needs by flipping, wholesaling, and tomorrow's cash flow needs by holding on to what? Cash flow properties in emerging markets. So folks, go to jeffadams.com/cash flow, and we have a form there for a free one-on-one consultation. Or you can also call 1-800-574-9221. We do prefer that you go online, fill that form out, so one of our property sourcing specialists can go over different options that we have available for you and get you set up to take care of tomorrow's cash flow needs. Now, a couple questions here I have, Jason, that are here on the screen here. First question is this: do I have to take care of all the repairs on the properties?
Great question. And the answer to that is no. And that's why you want to work with us, is because you want to tap into our experience so that you know it's done right. We go in, we take care of those. Any concern that property has, we're going to fix it. We're going to make it new. We're going to make it look nice. When you walk in, it's a great-looking property. Clean lines, fresh paint, new repairs.
And the next question I have here is, what about the tenants? You know, pre-screen the tenants and meeting with tenants and doing all the lease applications and so forth. Do you have to deal with all that?
I have to deal with none of that. It's my least favorite part, but I've learned that it's a very critical aspect of what needs to be done. And so we have a team that works for you every single day to make sure that those tenants are screened, leases are in place, deposits are in place, great renters for years and years to come.
Okay, the next question, this is from Brian out of Florida. He writes in, is there a limit of the number of properties that I can purchase?
So there's not a limit that you can purchase, and that's one thing that we want to take a look at. I think you guys heard that one of our investors bought 140 properties from us, right? And so there's not a limit, but we do want to make sure that we've put together a package that really works for you, that's going to accomplish what you want long term, and that's one of the things we can talk about for you.
Okay. And another question, Derek writes in, are these properties in emerging markets that are appreciating right now? That's a
Absolutely.
great question.
Yep. And that's what we've done, is taking the time to really research that out for you. We're not going to put you in Utah, guys, because you know what? You're going to be paying top dollar. You're not going to get the appreciation that you would in some of these other markets. And so we want you to be able to earn that appreciation. We want you to get in markets where that value is going up and up and up, because once you add that to the monthly income that you get every month for those rents, that's where the magic happens. Okay.
And another question here, Will writes in, what if the property has a leaky faucet, or the toilet's not working, or the roof has a leak? Do I have to coordinate the repairs, or how does that work?
Oh, goodness gracious. I'm so glad you asked that, because the question is no. And that's why it's passive income, right? That's why we call it mailbox money, because the property management company that we own, they've got the crews in place to go out and take care of these properties for you, okay? Remember, we've gone in and rehabbed them, so we warrant them for you anyways. But when there is a problem, we go in, take care of it, make it right, turn around, and make sure the renter's happy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So again, folks, I can tell you this is a great opportunity right now. Why make 1% on a CD at Bank of America when you can make, 10, 15, 20% returns on your money? Not only are you going to get the cash flow every single month, right? but you're also going to get the appreciation. So if you buy a property for, say, $60,000 or $100,000, you're looking at appreciation anywhere between 3 to 5 to 10%, depending on the market that it's in. Okay, so a great way to generate passive income. So what I want you to do right now is go to jeffadams.com/cash flow. There's a short form on there you can fill out for a free consultation, and we will get you on the path to taking care of tomorrow's cash flow needs today.
Jeff, I sure do appreciate you letting me get on with your students and really helping them take that first step to creating financial freedom. I personally don't think there's a better way to do it, and I'm honored to be on here today with you. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule, calling the call here. I really appreciate it. Good night, everybody.